the trenches here with some casino stocks. Now, Scott, your name is Scott, not Stock.
Or Red Dog.
Red Dog. Oh, can't do it. All right, let's get to, I have a general question before we get to the specific stocks. How do you think a slowdown in China will hurt this sector in general? Because we have 3 rate hikes now out of the country. I saw a headline that June CPI could actually come in at 6.2%. So if we see that higher inflation, we see more rate hikes, there'll literally be less money to spend on something like gambling. Do you think that that will hurt the sector overall?
Overall, it could, but there's been a lot of macro headlines that are supposed to hurt the market, and until it reflects it in the stock price, it's hard to really look at it so close. And Macau, which has been the big talking point and a good revenue point for a lot of these casinos, it could hurt them, and that's why I feel like some of them have not really taken off, like a WYNN, which has been the class of the group. WYNN has been an unbelievable stock. It came off a little bit during the correction, but gave you a nice pivot buy. It's at new highs, so it just shows you that you can't buy them all. You have to be a little bit careful because they're not all created equal, and you need to know where their revenues are coming from. Some are from Vegas, some have other things going on.
And the headlines you're saying then haven't been hurting the stock, so it's like you have to know it, but not necessarily take it as fact.
Yes, like yeah. I right now have a hard time reading all the newspapers and reading everything because it might, skew my judgment of the actual stock
charts.
action. Because if you look at WYNN here, and you take a look, it doesn't care that China raised rates, right? Here was your lower pivot. This was that buy area after it broke this upper channel because the market got pressured. So from 136 to new highs, if someone was reading those headlines, they might be short and hurt or might have missed this move. So at this particular point, the action looks good, and I wouldn't chase WYNN up here. It's hard, but see if it could pull in and hold this 150, and then potentially it even goes higher than that.
And is there room for 2 catch-up plays? I'm looking at MGM and Las Vegas Sands. MGM just a few bucks below its 52-week high, slightly cheaper than WYNN, but sales are only expected to grow almost 5% over the next year. Las Vegas Sands, however, was down on Wednesday, a little cheaper than WYNN also, and sales are expected to grow 21% over the next year.
Well, LVS used to be like my baby. We traded it all the time from like 19 to as high as 54, and it's been like out of play for almost 2 quarters now, building a huge upper channel. I see a small little pattern here. I'm actually long from yesterday, and I might look at it for cash flow today. If you look here on LVS, you'll see what I'm talking about. LVS just backtracked a little bit. Look at this huge move from like 25 all the way to 54. And since then, it's had a lot of headlines to grapple with. Some things going on in Macau, some, and I can't get into the whole thing, but the bottom line is, you have a nice little flag pattern. If you take a closer look here, you will see you had your move, it's consolidating. If it starts to get above this, what is this price? This is about 44.50. I think that it's got some clear room to this overall descending channel at around 46. So I think there is a trade here. And even as an investor, if you like the story, it's holding up okay. It's not compelling, but there's something to do.
And then really, really fast, what about MGM? Is Las Vegas Sands just the more compelling trade and investment at this point?
Yeah, it's better, but some people like MGM. There's more focus on just Vegas, not as much Macau. I think it's trading around 14. It's not a mover shaker, but if you wanted to buy it for the longer term, you do a tier 1, and what guys usually do with this is every time it goes up $1 or $2, you sell some calls to take in some premium, give it some time, and this could be over 18 at one point this year. It's just not going to be a barn burner.